Hello everyone, welcome to PRATHAM Test Prep. My name is Ashish Bhargav and welcome to another episode of daily news analysis that we do from Monday to Friday. As you know that newspaper is very important for your current affairs, in order to complete your current affairs. So newspaper that gives you the immense idea like what kind of things that you should prepare on that. So if you talk about like the two prominent newspaper, the Hindu and Indian Express. So newspaper why it is important, as I told you in each and every session, because आपको जितने भी करंट अफेयर्स क्वेश्चंस होते हैं उनका मेन सोर्स है आपका न्यूज़पेपर, चाहे स्पोर्ट्स के, साइंस एंड टेक, पर्सनल एंड न्यूज़, ये सारे आपको यहाँ से कवर होते हैं, राइट. सो एंड आई वेलकम ईच एंड एवरी वन हियर. Let me know if my voice is audible and am I visible to each and everyone. Okay. So in short, that if you talk about, so newspaper is important in that context. What exactly we cover in the newspaper, like we discuss about national news, international news, economy based news, summits and conference, personal news, and apart from that we also discuss about Supreme Court verdict, any amendments, any bills which is in the parliament. Like recently that we have seen the women reservation bill that was in the parliament, and that demanding for the 33% of reservation for the scheduled caste and scheduled tribe, not other backward caste women. So this should be very important that you should keep an eye on that, like what kind of things that you should cover on in the newspaper. And here is a quote that nobody can go back and start a new beginning, but anyone can start today and make a new ending. And here that we have questions of the day, so we'll discuss about questions. There are few questions and quick tips. में आज हम quick tips में सीखेंगे कि like how the just a second. So here is a very first news. He's talking about author Nandini Das that wins 2023 British Academy Book Prize. What exactly this is? So it is Indian-born author Nandini Das has been named the winner of the 2023 British Academy Book Prize for Global Cultural Understanding, a leading international non-fiction award with a prize money of $25,000 for her book that quoting India, England, Mughal India and Origin of Empire. So that book name that you should know and remember that that is India, England, Mughal India and the origin of empire. So the UK based academic day that work described to the true origin story of Britain and India that told through England's first diplomatic mission to the Mughal courts. So it was revealed as this year winner so this is very important to know the person news, because author Nandini Das that wins 2023 British Academy Book Prize. So again the next one, UNESCO name Kozhikode City of Literature, what this tag means. So Kozhikode in Kerala that was added UNESCO Creative Site Networks on Wednesday, and Gwalior Madhya Pradesh that was also among 55 cities to join the network. So what is Creative Cities Network? If you talk about UCCN, so what is UCCN is UNESCO Creative Cities Network, that is UNESCO's Creative Cities Network, that is called UCCN. And what is UNESCO is United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization. So that is United Nations Educational, Scientific and cultural organization. So UCCN, that on Wednesday, Gwalior in Madhya Pradesh, was also among the 55 new cities to join this network. Indian cities in this network, like apart from Kozhikode and Gwalior, Varanasi, that for the music, Varanasi, that is for the music, and Srinagar, that is for the craft and folk arts, craft and folk art, and Chennai, that is for the music, that is part of the network. So the first Malayalam novel, like Kundalatha, that was born in Kozhikode in 1887. So what are the area of action? So what are the objective of this, the UCCN? So the UNESCO relatives like Creative Cities Network that allows member cities to recognize creativity as an essential component of urban development, notably through the partnership involving the public and private sector and civil society. So what are the areas of action? The objective of the network are implemented both at the level of member cities and at the international level. So the last conference that was held in the Centros, Brazil, and this year conference was in Istanbul, and the next conference that will be in the July 2024, that was in the Braga, Portugal. So every 4 years, member cities are required to submit a membership monitoring report with the aim to demonstrating their steadfast commitment towards the implementation of the UCCN mission statement. The few things that you should know here is Gwalior city. The city Gwalior earns title of city of music from UNESCO. Before Hindustani classic music, as we know that Mughal time में जो आपका classic music था, that was flourished throughout the country. So before Hindustani classic music were divided into various gharanas, that music ideology and system that were musician identity and style, either by lineage or the learning and following this style. So Gwalior emerged as the first proper gharana of music and evolved under the Mughal rule. So the initial ustads of gharanas included Nathutat Khan and Nathan Pir Baksh and his grandson Hadu, Hasu and Nathu Khan. So Mia Tansen, that was born in Ramantanu to a poet and musician that was one of the Gwalior early proteges at the beginning of the 16th century. And he trained under Swami Haridas, who practiced Dhrupad, but the poetry was dedicated to Krishna instead of Vishnu. And the famed Sufi saint Muhammad Ghoras also had a huge impact on Tansen. While learning from Ghoras, Tansen understood and honored the Gwalior Gharana style and was the court musician for King Ram Chandra Singh of Rewa and Madhya Pradesh for many years. As we can see in this news, that Gwalior earns title of City of Music from UNESCO. So what are the significance of Kozhikode and Gwalior? Kozhikode is the first city in India to receive the prestigious title City of Literature by UNESCO. That is City of Literature by UNESCO. And the city has a long history of hosting various literary events such as Kerala Literature Festival, which is one of the largest literary gathering in Asia. And Kozhikode carried the distinction of being home to over 500 libraries, and that celebrated writer of the city, Thikiyodia and P. Valsa Sanjian, that along the poets and scholars and publishers who have contributed to diversity and vibrancy of Malayalam literature and culture. Here is Gwalior as a city of music. So Gwalior is the second city in India to designate it as a city of music by UNESCO after Varanasi in 2015. And the city is widely regarded as the birthplace of Tansen, so that one of the greatest musician and composer in Indian history, who was also one of the Navratnas, 9 jewels in the court of Emperor Akbar. And the city is also the origin of Gwalior Gharana, the oldest and most influential school of Hindustani classic music. And the city hosts one of the biggest annual music festival in India, the Tansen Sangeet Samaro, which attracts thousands of music lovers and artists from across the country and abroad. Here is UNESCO Creative Cities Network UCCN. It was created in 2004 and it aims to promote cooperation among cities which recognize creativity as a strategic factors in their urban development. And it was one of the Sustainable Development Goal 11 which aims for sustainable cities and communities, and the network covers 7 creative fields like craft and food arts, media arts, film design, gastronomy, literature and music. Here the article is something talking about AI matters. So that is a major countries that meeting as in the UK that code breaking hub during World War II have agreed to collaborate to minimize the potentially catastrophic risk from frontier AI in a big deal. So basically in short, if you talk about 28 countries that include the United States, China, Japan and the European Union that agreed to sign on the declaration of global action that tackle to potential risks of AI. Now here in the next article is talking about environmental factors that determine height of the children. So अभी recently जो middle income countries है जिसे हम कहते हैं LMIC, in contrast to those from European nations, where genetic aspect predominant in the regulating childhood height. तो जो environmental factors होते हैं वो determine करते हैं height किसी भी children की. Many environmental factors including socio-economic status, nutrition and infections load are believed to influence childhood growth, which play a critical role in determining one's height. Although the impact of environmental exposure during early childhood is believed to be quite significant with long-term consequences, and there are no genome-wide epigenetic investigations on height in childhood, especially in low and middle income countries. So इसमें हमें ये बस ये ध्यान देना है कि इसमें जो आपके इसको एक्सपाउंड किया वो हैदराबाद बेस्ड सेंटर सेलुलर एंड मॉलिक्यूलर बायोलॉजी. Next one is talking about biosphere. So biosphere reserves are involving as pocket of hope. So away from the cacophony of urban life, most of look for respite in sites with natural beauty, lush greenery and peaceful surroundings. So as the tourist season approaches, it is no surprise that while we search for polluted spots to explore, unconsciously our consumptions of single-use plastics, in particularly plastic water bottle, that will significantly increases. बात करें with 80% of the all tourism taking places in coastal areas, what do you call it, as a relaxing vacation if you found discarded plastics bottles while taking a stroll on the beach. So acting as a pocket of hope in the face of climate crisis, बात करें इसमें UNESCO की United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization. Biosphere reserves are hidden like oases, protecting biodiversity, reducing pollution, enhancing climate resilience. So they are living jewels of land, coastal and marine ecosystem scattered across the globe, where nature and humans come together that created a symphony of life. So in obvious that if you talk about अभी जो हमारी second anniversary थी of World Biosphere Reserve Day की, that was in November 3rd, it is important to reflect on the progress that made in conserving and sustainably using the vital ecosystem. So इसके लिए सबसे पहले बायोस्फीयर को आपको क्या उसके लिए क्या इनिशिएटिव लेने की ज़रूरत है, and it was designated by the UNESCO to promote the conservation of biodiversity, sustainable development, research and biosphere reserves that are supported by United Nations agency, जो UN की different agencies हैं उनकी भी. So if you talk about International Union for Conservation of Nature, IUCN के हिसाब से बात करें, IUCN, and according to UNESCO, so there are currently 748 biosphere reserves हैं. So there are around 748 biosphere reserve in how many countries? In 134 countries. This data should be remembered because the current affair in 134 countries, including 22 transboundary sites, enhancing the friendly cooperation between neighboring countries. They impact the lives of more than 250 million people in 134 countries. 12 sites can be found in India alone. So at the local level, there have been significant advancement in the conservation of biosphere reserve on the local level. For example, in the Sundarbans Biosphere Reserve in India. And उसमें अगर बात करें हम that local communities are working together to manage mangrove forest. Mangrove alliance भी हुई थी. Mangrove की क्या importance है my friends? इसमें सबसे ज़्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट ये है कि जो आपका कोस्टल प्लेन्स होते हैं वो आपका प्रिजर्व होता है सुनामी के टाइम में, और आपको ये मैनग्रोव्स होते हैं, इसके कुछ रूट्स आपके नीचे पानी के नीचे होते हैं और बाहर आपके रूट्स निकले होते हैं, सो दैट कि इसमें आपके लैंडस्लाइड होने के बहुत कम चांसेस होते हैं. सो जो मैनग्रोव फॉरेस्ट होते हैं दैट प्रोटेक्ट बायोडाइवर्सिटी ऑन दैट ऑल रीजन. एंड इन द गल्फ ऑफ मन्नार जो बायोस्फीयर रिजर्व है इंडिया में, दैट लोकल कम्युनिटीज इंक्लूडिंग वुमेन आर कंट्रीब्यूटिंग टूवर्ड्स conservation efforts by forming self-help groups while the youth are getting engaged in the ecotourism. अभी recently recognized किया यूनेस्को मिशेल बैटर्सी अवार्ड फॉर द बायोस्फीयर रिजर्व मैनेजमेंट 2023 में गल्फ ऑफ मन्नार को, दैट इज गल्फ ऑफ मन्नार. एंड रिसेंटली अभी आपने ये भी देखा होगा कि यहाँ पे सेकेंड एनिवर्सरी द बायोस्फीयर रिजर्व डे की विच वी हैव ऑलरेडी डिस्कस. अगर मैं बात करूं MAB की, विच इज़ यूनेस्को मैन एंड बायोस्फीयर प्रोग्राम, दैट द मेन पर्पज टू एनहेंस द ह्यूमन एनवायरमेंट रिलेशनशिप दैट थ्रू कंबाइनिंग नेचुरल एंड social sciences to improve livelihoods, safeguard ecosystems and promote sustainable economic development. So what kind of important takeaways that you should know about this in this article? First thing, what is the work of UNESCO Man and Biosphere Reserve, and how many biosphere reserves in the world, that is 748, in how many countries, that 134 country, and how many transboundary sites, that is 22, the data is important. And what is the work of United Nations, that UNESCO, for this. So these all things that you should keep in mind while reading these articles. While moving further, that this one, why did India abstain from the call for truce? And how many countries that voted for a resolution calling for an immediate, durable and sustainable humanitarian truce in the Israel-Hamas conflict at the UNGA, which is United Nations General Assembly? And what has been India's historic stance on Palestine? सो रिसेंट ये आपको देखो एक ही टाइप के आर्टिकल्स आपको डेली आते रहेंगे, बट आपको इसमें ये चीज़ फाइंड आउट करनी है कि उसमें कोई नई चीज़ क्या है, बिकॉज इजराइल पैलेस्टीन वॉर पे हमने बहुत डिटेल में डिस्कस की हुई है न्यूज़ एनालिसिस में. इन शॉर्ट इसको हम समझते हैं. अक्टूबर 26 को, नियरली लाइक 3 weeks आफ्टर द टेरर स्ट्राइक बाय हमास एंड इसराइल, UNGA ने वोट किया फॉर रेजोल्यूशन कॉलिंग फॉर इमीडिएट, ड्यूरेबल एंड सस्टेनेबल ह्यूमैनिटेरियन ट्रूस के लिए इन द hostilities, and that was voted by 120 member countries and 14 countries voted against it. Obvious इसमें जो हमास को सपोर्ट करने वाले हैं यहाँ पे, वो आपके जो कंट्री होंगे वो इस्लामिक कंट्रीज होंगे. So India was amongst 45 countries that abstained a vote for which the government has received criticism from the opposition, with many calling India's vote a break from the past. And why did government abstain? Because इंडिया ने वोट किया दिस वीक. एक्सटर्नल अफेयर्स मिनिस्टर जो हमारे S जयशंकर हैं, उन्होंने बताया कि इंडिया वोट वाज कंसीडर्ड कंसिस्टेंट विद द स्टैंड ऑन द टेररिज्म, दैट एडिंग एट इंडिया टेक्स अ स्ट्रॉन्ग पोजीशन ऑन इट एंड UNGA के रेजोल्यूशंस के हिसाब से. सो जो इंडिया है दैट हैज़ ऑल्सो येट टू डेजिग्नेटेड हमास अ टेरर ग्रुप, समथिंग इजरायली एम्बेसडर इंडिया नार गिलोन दैट हैज़ ऑल्सो डिमांडेड. तो इंडिया का इसमें क्या स्टैंड है, उन्होंने वोट क्यों अगेंस्ट किया? बिकॉज द रीज़न बिहाइंड ये जो हमास है उसको कंसीडर करते हैं एज अ टेरर ग्रुप. सो इज इंडिया वोट अ ब्रेक फ्रॉम द पास्ट? सो इंडिया का जो वोट है ऑन द UNGA रेजोल्यूशन, दैट नो डाउट अ ब्रेक फ्रॉम इज पास्ट वोटिंग रिकॉर्ड एट द यूनाइटेड नेशंस. हिस्टोरिकल अगर हम बात करें इसमें कि इंडिया वोट अगेंस्ट द पार्टीशन ऑफ पैलेस्टीन एंड द क्रिएशन ऑफ सेपरेट स्टेट ऑफ इसराइल, दैट वाज इन द 1948 की बात है. दैट वाज द फर्स्ट non-Arab state to recognize the Palestine Liberation Organization, that is called PLO, as the representatives of the people, and to recognize Palestine in 1988 में, and consistently voted against the Israel at the United Nations. तो पहले इनिशियली इंडिया का सपोर्ट था इसराइल के साइड, पैलेस्टीन के साइड, अब हम क्या करते हैं उसके अगेंस्ट हैं. However, the 1990s, especially once India established full diplomatic ties with Israel, its votes at the UN grew more nuances, abstaining of many votes that directly criticized Israel or called for the international tribunals of its treatment of Palestinians in the occupied territory of West Bank and Gaza strips. So, India even raised its annual contribution to the United Nations Relief and Work Agency for Palestine Refugee UNRWA from $1 million each year to $5 million a year. As a result, India voted against the US decision to recognize Jerusalem and Israel capital, move its embassy there at the UNGA, but abstained from voting on a UN Human Rights Council. So, this is all about the news. Now, we move for the food sector recipe for rural prosperity. So, just a second. So, India is lively mix of ancient tradition and modern aspirations. The food processing industry in India is a dynamic force that sustains a billion plus people while boosting economic growth. Since 2014 and 15, the food processing sector has exhibited a remarkable performance, and that boasting an impressive average annual growth rate of over 9%, and such robust and consistent growth make it attractive prospect for investors, entrepreneurs and the stakeholders in the value chain. इसमें आपको एक चीज़ समझनी होगी, दैट इज़ प्रधानमंत्री किसान संपदा योजना that foster food processing industry growth. The union government has initiated the comprehensive Pradhan Mantri Kisan Sampada Yojana, and this program focuses on modern infrastructure development and capacity building within the food processing sector, and this is for the food processing sector. And another vital initiative, the Pradhan Mantri formalization of micro food processing and enterprises, PMF PME. So, the second edition of World Food India WFI, that is scheduled to be held in Delhi from November 3 to 5, that aims to unite the global food processing industry, that showcase India culinary heritage, highlight technological advancements and encourage investment in the diverse food processing sector. Maldives President-elect on India, that we had already discussed, and here is remembering the kings who embraced Buddhism. इसको आप learn कर सकते हो. Father and uncle brought kids home. Fayan, Ashoka, Udayin, Bimsar, Kharvela and Harsha. And here is, we can see, remember the types of writs. CPM headquarters. C stand for certiorari, P for prohibition, M for mandamus, H for habeas corpus, Q for quo warranto. Now it's time to questions of the day. Here we have first question. World Energy Outlook report is released by the International Renewable Energy Agency, World Economic Forum, International Energy Agency, World Trade Organization. So, that is answer is option C1, World Energy Outlook, that according to International Energy Agency, India is expected to have the highest growth in energy demand over the next 3 decades Food Safety and Standard Authority of India, an autonomous statutory body established under the aegis of the Ministry of Consumer Affairs, Food and Public Distribution, Ministry of Commerce and Industry, Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, Ministry of Science and Technology. It was A option, Food Safety and Standard Authority of India. It was established in 2008, the headquarters in New Delhi, as an autonomous statutory body under the Food Safety and Standard Act 2006 that established in the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. How are Nobel Prizes awarded? Nobel Prizes are awarded by a committee of politicians and government officials from Sweden. Obvious, यहाँ पे politicians की involvement नहीं है. B is the right answer. Nobel Prizes are awarded to the individuals and organization for outstanding contribution in the fields of physics, chemistry, medicine, literature, economic science and peace. Dark pattern, which is in the news. And the answer would be C option. And the last questions, Project Udbhav. That was mentioned in the news sometimes is associated with defense sector, agriculture, oil and gas sector, manufacturing sector. As we had discussed in the Project Udbhav, which was in the defense sector. So it was launched by the defense ministers that aim to integrate ancient Indian strategic wisdom into modern military pedagogy. और ये जो project है हमारा, that is collaboration with the USI, which is United Service Institution of India, that seeks to create an indigenous strategic vocabulary based on Indian philosophy and culture. So this is all about the session, dear student, and I hope that you enjoyed the session a lot. If you have any questions regarding the session, please let me know in the comment section, and please share this session to your friends so that they will get advantage also. Make sure if you are new in this channel, please subscribe our channel and do not forget to press the bell icon so you will get the notification of all our Pratham Test Prep mentors. Stay tuned, we'll meet you tomorrow at the same time for newspaper analysis. Till then, bye bye and take care.